Hi guys, I'm still your Algebra 1 tutor. In today's video, we'll learn about how to solve one-step and two-step equations, multi-step equations with variables on both sides, and word problems with linear equations. So let's get started right away. One-step equation. They're equations that require just one operation, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, to be solved. So x plus 7 equals 4. In order to make x stay by itself on one side, you have to subtract, which is an inverse operation. For an inverse operation, if it's plus, you have to use subtraction. So you subtract 7 from both sides to make x stay by itself on one side. For the next one, 13 equals to y minus 5. So here it has minus 5. So if it's minus, if you use an inverse operation, you need to use addition. So you add 5 on both sides, which becomes y equals to 18. Example 1, one-step equation. So here it says solve the equations. A, x minus 4 equals to 7. So it's minus 4 right here. So you have to use an inverse operation, which is addition. So you add 4 on both sides. X minus 4 plus 4 equals to 7 plus 4. And that becomes x equals to 11. B, s plus 6 equals to 38. Here it is plus 6, so if it's a plus, you need to use subtraction, right? So you subtract 6 from both sides, which equals to s plus 6 minus 6 equals to 38 minus 6. That is s equals to 32. For C is 4y equals to 64. If there is a number multiplied to a variable in an equation, you need to use division. So it's also an inverse operation. So if there's multiplication used in a equation, for example, 4y here equals to 64, you use division instead, and if there's a fraction, like 1 over 4, let's say 1 over 4y equals to 64, you have to multiply 4 instead. So if it's subtraction, you use addition. If it's addition, you use subtraction. If there's multiplication, you use division. If there's division, you use multiplication. So for this one, you just divide both sides by 4, which becomes y equals to 16. Two-step equation. There are equations that require two operations to be solved. So for 4x minus 12 equals to 4, you use addition because there's minus 12 here, remember? If it's minus 12, you use plus 12. And, if it's 4x, you use division, which is dividing into 4. And 13 equals to negative 2y minus 5. Here, there's minus 5. And if there's a minus, you add. So it's plus 5 on both sides. If there's multiplication, which is negative 2y, you use division instead. So this is also an inverse operation. You divide both sides. You divide both sides into negative 2. Example 2, two-step equation. A, 3x minus 7 equals to 2. So there's minus 7 here. And if there's minus, as I said before, you use plus, which is plus 7 on both sides. So 3x minus 7 plus 7 equals to 2 plus 7, which becomes 3x equals to 9. And you divide both sides by 3, because there's a multiplication used in this equation. You use division instead. So 3x over 3 equals to 9 over 3. And that becomes x minus 3. For B, 8y minus 4 equals to 20. So here there's minus 4. So inverse operation again, you use plus 4. So 8y minus 4 plus 4 equals to 20 plus 4. And that is 8y equals to 24. So here it is multiplication. 8 times y. So multiplication, then you use division as an inverse operation. So you divide both sides by 8. So 8y over 8 equals to 24 over 8, which becomes y equals to 3. C, 4s plus 6 equals to 18. Here again, plus 6, and what you should do is do minus 6 on both sides. So 4s plus 6 minus 6 equals to 18 minus 6. And that is 4s equals to 12. And here again, there's a multiplication. And what you have to use is division. So 4s over 4 equals to 12 over 4. That is s equals to 3. And D here is negative 2x plus 1 equals to 11. 1. Now it is addition again. So you have to use subtraction on both sides. So you subtract 1 from both sides, then it becomes minus 2x plus 1 minus 1 equals to 11 minus 1. And that is negative 2x equals to 10. And here again, there's division, and you use and here it is multiplication again, and you have to use division instead. So negative 2x over negative 2 equals to 10 over negative 2, which is x equals to negative 5. So multi-step equations with variables on both sides. They're equations that requires more than 2 steps to solve and have variables on both sides of the equation. 4x plus 5 equals to x minus 10. So you first subtract x, and then you add 10, since there's minus 10 here. And if you subtract x, it becomes 3x, so you divide both sides into 3 to make 3x into x. Example 3, multi-step equations with variables on both sides. So there are 3 questions here. So first, for A, is 7x minus 4 equals to 2x plus 6. So you first subtract 2x from both sides, because this 2x is also an addition apparently. So you use subtraction instead. 7x minus 4 minus 2x equals to 2x plus 6 minus 2x. And that is 5x minus 4 equals to 6. So we did this before. It's minus 4. What do? You have to add 4, right? So 5x minus 4 plus 4 equals to 6 plus 4, which becomes 5x equals to 10. And then you divide both sides into 5. Since there is 5 in front of x, it becomes x equals 2. B, 3y plus 11 equals to y plus 25. You subtract y from both sides, since y has invisible plus in front of it. 3y plus 11 minus y equals to y plus 25 minus y. And that is 2y plus 11 equals to 25. and then you subtract 11 since it is plus 11. So it is 2y equals to 14. And then you divide this again into, you divide this in 2. So it's 2i over 2 equals to 14 over 2 equals 2. X equals, oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. It's, y equals to 7. For C, it's 9b minus 1 equals to 7b plus 7. You subtract 7b from both sides. Remember, there's plus here, so it's plus 7b, and what you have to do is minus 7b. So 9b minus 1 minus 7b equals to 7b plus 7 minus 7b. And that becomes 2b minus 1 equal to 7. And again here, minus 1, and what you have to do is plus 1 on both sides. So 2b minus 1 plus 1 equals to 7 plus 1, which becomes 2b equals to 8. And then here, there's multiplication. And you need to use division instead. So 2b over 2 equals to 8 over 2, which is b equals to 4. Word problems with linear equation. So step 1, you first have to understand the problem and assign a variable to represent the unknown quantity. Step 2, you need to write an equation based on a situation described in word problems. And lastly, for step 3, you need to solve that equation. Example 4 word problems. A school club is selling brownies for $4 each. They need to raise $100. How many brownies do they need to sell? So for step 1, you first need to set a variable. So let x be the number of brownies they need to sell. Step 2, equation. 4x equals 100. So 4 is the price of brownie, and x is the number of brownies they need to sell, and 100 is the amount of money they need to raise. And then you solve this equation. And to solve this equation, you need to use division. So you divide both sides by 4. That is 4x over 4 equals to 100 over 4. So x equals 25. Since x was the number of brownies they need to sell, the answer to this question is 25 brownies. Example 5. Maya has $50. She buys a pair of mittens for $14 and wants to spend the remaining money on scarves, each costing $12. How many can she buy? So this question is asking for how many scarves Maya can buy with remaining money. Step 1. So you again have to set a variable. So let x be the number of scarves Maya can buy with the remaining money. And step 2, you need to set an equation. So she first buys a pair of mittens for $14. So she already used $14. So you put 14 here first, and then she wants to spend remaining money on scarves. And that scarf cost $12 each. So it's 12x, since the x is the number of scarves Maya can buy. And this is amount of money she has, which is $50. And then you solve this equation. So you first have to subtract 14 from both sides, since it's plus 14, and you need to do minus 14. For 14 plus 12x minus 14 equals to 50 minus 14. And that becomes 12x equals to 36. And then, since it's 12 times x, you need to do, divide both sides by 12. So it is 12x over 12 equals to 36 over 12, which becomes x equals 3. And since x was the number of scarves Maya can buy, value of x is the answer to this question, which is 3 scarves. These are some common mistakes people make when they solve equations. So first one is not applying operation on both sides. You always have to apply operation on both sides of an equation to get a correct answer. So here's an example. b plus 6 equals 4b minus 9. You have to first subtract 6 from each side, right? So here it only subtracted 6 from one side. Oh my god. Sorry. And this is the mistake they made. And to correct them, you have to subtract 6 from both sides. So another common mistake is using incorrect inverse operations, which means that you're using wrong operation to isolate the variable. As I said before, if you want to isolate the variable, you need to use an inverse operation. So y plus 6 equals to 10, which becomes y plus 6 minus 6 equals to 10 minus 6. This is how you do correctly. And you should never do this, which is adding 6 again, which is not an inverse operation. If it's plus, you need to subtract it, and if it's minus, you need to add it. And if it has a multiple number, for example, like 4x, you have to divide both sides into 4. And if it has like a fraction, which is like 1 over 3x, you need to multiply 3 instead. And lastly, I have some tips for checking work. So you have to substitute the solution back into the original equation to verify the answers. With this method, you can check whether your answer is correct or incorrect. I have 3 examples here. So first, 3a minus 14 equals 4. To use this method, you should first get the value of a. So let's solve this equation. 3a minus 14 plus 14 equals 4 plus 14. That becomes 3a equals to 18. Since it's 3 times a, we need to divide both sides by 3. So then it becomes 3a over 3 equals to 18 over 3. And that is a equals to 6. Now since we have the value of a, we can check our work. And to check our work, you can substitute 6 into a. So here it is 3 times 6, 6 instead of a, and minus 14 equals to 4. If you do 3 times 6, it is 18. So it's 18 minus 14 equals to 4. And if you do 18 minus 14, it's 4, right? So 4 equals to 4. And that means this question here is correct. And for our next example, 1 equals to minus 9y plus 10. And here again, we need to get a value of y to check our answer. So we first have to subtract 10 from each side to let minus y be by itself on one of the side of the equation. So 1 minus 10 equals to negative 9y plus 10 minus 10. And that becomes negative 9 equals to negative 9y. Since there's negative 9 multiplied to y here, we need to divide the whole equation by negative 9. So it's negative 9 over negative 9 equals to negative 9y over negative 9. And that makes our y value to 1. And now we have the y value, we can check our work. So we can substitute 1 into y. So 1 equals minus 9 times 1 instead of y, plus 10. So 1 equals minus 9 plus 10. If you do 10 minus 9, it's 1, right? So it's 1 equals to 1. Now, this equation is also correct. And for our last example, we have 3j minus 9 equals to 12. So to get the value of j, we first have to use addition. Here it is negative, and here it is minus 9, so we need to use plus 9 on both sides. So 3j minus 9 plus 9 equals to 12 plus 9, and that becomes 3j equals to 21. Since we have 3j here, we need to divide both sides into 3. So it is 3j over 3 equals to 21 over 3, and that is j equals to 6. And again, to check our work, we can substitute the value of j, which is 6, into j. And 3 times 6 instead of j, minus 9 equals to 12. If you do 3 times 6 first, following the order of operation, it's 18 minus 9 equals to 12. And if you do 18 minus 9, it's 7. But is it equal to 12? No. So in this case, you can know that your answer is wrong. So this is all I prepared for the lesson today. And today we covered 1-step and 2-step equations, multi-step equations, word problems, and some common mistakes. Solving equations will be used a lot in further mathematics, so you need to practice a lot. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.